Morning, everybody. It's PJ, and I am on my way to pay my taxes. Yay! I love paying my taxes because I'm an American. Anyway, that's what I'm on my way to do. Give them all my money. Loving it. Loving it. Yeah. Okay, whatever. Anyway, I wanted to talk to you today about values. And okay, guys, there we go. Better. Have to hide the neck because this is like not even a thing. Plus, it's raining. I wanted to talk to you today about values and value systems and valuables and how you should value yourself as a woman. So, guys, probably not going to be about you today, unless you want to learn how to value a woman. Okay, so I, in my readings, run across a ton of women who are disappointed in their relationships. Pretty much that's, you know, if they're not trusting or whatever it is, it's always, you know, does he love me? Is he cheating? And honestly, like the people that want to know if they're cheating, unless you're a psycho and you kind of have to look at that, you know, if it quacks like a duck, guys. But I mean, readings will tell you whether or not they're cheating. I gear what I say to people. I never tell anybody anything in a reading that I can't get them out of. When I do a reading, I always give them an alternative to what they're doing so that they don't feel trapped. Because a lot of people get trapped by that information, and that's not what I'm going for. I'm not trying to hurt anybody. I want everybody to understand that there's all these paths always open to you. I don't care what the hell it is. And I don't say that frivolously. I had to make a very difficult choice in my early 30s when I left my husband. I had nothing, no money, nothing. Like, I mean, we slept on our clothes. We didn't have a pot, like, to boil water in. And you know, I worked up from there. It was a very difficult decision. It would have been so easy to turn around and go to my already paid for home, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. So choices are there. They're just not always easy choices, or the choice that's gonna be the easiest road to follow. It's a bumpy ass road. Like, it took me years to get to a point. I had 3 boys to get to a point where, you know, we were okay financially, and, you know, I'm a single woman. I worked on the psychic lines at the time, which was good money, but it was like just me. No other, you know, it was hard. So, regardless of all that, a lot of times we stay in situations because we don't want to make that choice. So I always, whenever I do a reading to somebody who is in a situation that probably isn't very good for them, I give them those paths. I say, well, you know, I don't just leave it that, yep, that's it, he's a cheater, you're done. I explain how to possibly, you know, make the relationship work in a better way, you know, so that, because so many times women stay too long, because so many times I see women staying so much longer, and I think it's the nature of the beast. We're nurturing, we tend to look at who they were in the very beginning, and that's who we think we're going to make them be again, and it does not work that way. I mean, the truth is, you don't even know who this person is. When you rush into a relationship, you don't even really know them. I mean, they don't even know you. Like, you're not the open book when you first start in a relationship either. And that's who you fall in love with, is that first person going to be at his best, at her best. Okay, so that's when we get into values, valuables, value systems. So, everything you do in life revolves around those 3 words. And what I notice is men are better at it than women. Because a man can judge whether or not he deems a woman valuable rather quickly. But a woman will snatch on to the minutest detail of values and valuables on a man and hope that is real. Like, hope that that's like who's inside there. And men know this. They play the game. They're mysterious. They're aloof. You know. Anyway, so here's the trick, guys. If you want to know if a man values you, men tend to, and not all men, some men are very elevated from this, and you don't have this problem. But from what I've seen, from my experience in reading probably thousands on thousands of people by now, this is the pattern. If they value you, then they will invest in you. And it's not necessarily money. It can be, but it is money, because men, like women, value themselves completely different than men. So a woman who's not married, usually, not all women, most women, value themselves on their looks, on who they show the world they are. Now, not, like I said, not all women, but a predominant amount of the women. And it's nature. Nature wants you to get somebody in your life that you can breed with and perpetuate the species, basically. So we spend a ton of money on makeup, thank God, because I spend a ton of money on makeup. It's pretty, it's colorful, it's all pretty. Anyway, so that is what a single woman's value systems are in place for. This thing will not stay off my chair. And then she gets married. She hooks the guy, gets married. And haven't you seen that, where like a girl will be beautiful every day of her life, never leave her home without makeup on, hair done, dressed to the nines at all times. Then she gets married and like has a kid, and she's wearing his sweatpants. There's not a lick of makeup on. Her hair hasn't been washed in 3 days. And the kids are beautiful usually, because that's where her shift went. Her shift went from herself to her children. And now they are the values. They are the valuables, not herself anymore. And that's where we get in trouble. Okay, because men don't shift. Men's valuables basically are their wallet. I mean, not that they don't value human beings and all the good stuff in life, but if you take it down to how they see themselves as a success or failure to the world, it doesn't have anything to do with their looks. I mean, they might be vain, but that's not, they want to, and that also comes from nature. They are the, hunter-gatherers, and, that's the way we were kind of made, even though that's like old-fashioned to say, and we are certainly of higher mind. We are not an animalistic mind anymore, so we don't have to follow those patterns, but those patterns are still behind us. They're still there. So, and if you just are going on pure instinct, that's what comes out. So, if you want to know if a man wants to keep you, like making a decision, not falling into a lazy pattern, but like making a decision that you're the one, did he invest in you? Has he invested in you? Has he put some money in you? Has he put some time in you? Or is it the other way around? Are you investing in him, putting time in him? Are you that person? Because the minute you are, you have your answer. You have your answer. This is the wrong thing. If a man wants to keep you, he will invest in you. And I'll tell you how I can prove it. Because, not all men, again, but a lot of men, they get psychotic when you want to leave them. Like if you decide, if you make a decision, yeah, this is not the right guy for me, they're like psychotic. They're stalkers. Why? Because they've invested in you. So it's almost like an ownership thing. I know that sounds terrible, and I'm not suggesting at all that we live our lives this way. I'm trying to show you the patterns so that you can avoid them. Sorry about the lighting. The sun is like straight in my eyes because I'm not going my normal way to work. I'm going to the tax building. So my point is that you can look at these inclinations and decide better. And that's what happens. We don't make decisions. We just fall in love. Oh, I was in love. And that's like kick off your shoes. There is no rules. And that is the way women get in trouble. I've gotten in trouble that way. Like, you just want it to be something else. You are the one investing. You are the one vesting and investing. You're paying for things. You're going places in your car. He's not taking you out on a regular. You're the one pursuing. Like, you're the one. And that, ladies, you need to run the other way. And that's another way you can run the other way. If he is the one, he'll follow you. Because he is invested. Because some of them are sneaky. Some of them don't like to let you know that they're invested. So, damn this thing. So what they do is they don't they hold their cards close to their chest. And then what you do is you spend your life trying to pull those cards off his chest. You're like ripping at the door that he closed. And they know you'll do this. It gives them the upper hand. So what you want to do is understand yourself first. Value yourself first. You know, they say you can't love somebody else unless you love yourself. I don't know if that's a completely true statement. Probably you can't love someone well. They should put in the well word. Unless you love yourself. But I believe you can't value somebody else correctly unless you value yourselves. Value systems are exactly what we live on. That woman that got married and had a couple kids, she will look like dog shit. She will absolutely gain weight, not get dressed, like go to bed. She used to go to bed in negligees. Now she's going to bed in, cotton underwear. But her kids look beautiful. And when they stand outside, she sees a little bit of chocolate on a baby's face. She's gonna, get that chocolate off. Why? Chocolate doesn't eat holes in children's faces. But because now that's how she values herself. Does my child look good? Does it look like I took time and care in letting my child go to school today or whatever? That to her is her value system. It's a good way to end a marriage. Men want the kids to be cute, but they didn't marry that. That's not who they married. And I'm not saying it's your fault. A lot of these men twist and turn on a dime on who they are too. They start out, but the truth is, when I say that, all of us do, because the first person you meet in a relationship is never the one that's there a year later. A year later, that's who the real person is. And they could be a negative Nelly. They could have hid all that from you. You wouldn't have known. So all I'm saying to you is make really good choices. Value yourself above all others. Because that's how you value other people. How you treat yourself. If it's hard for you to do that, a lot of times it is because people are not raised in a very nurturing place. It's very hard to raise children. Nobody gives you classes or a book, or they do have them, but maybe you didn't get to read them, whatever. And so the nurturing thing is off. And if you don't recognize that in yourself, you're going to be, going after the wrong people for relationships. You will finish those relationships off by finding somebody with the same traits and trying to fix them. And all this means you have to recognize who you are. You have to know who you are. So when you're about to date somebody who maybe took advantage of you or didn't treat you well, or, you know, something has happened a few months into this relationship and you're like, wow, this isn't how I want to be treated, but you allow it. I want you to think of yourself as like a little 5-year-old girl. The 5-year-old girl of you right in your belly. And that's who's there, because that's really where all our emotions come from when we're young. And so if you think of that little 5-year-old girl in you and like make her your daughter, and you say to yourself, would I allow my daughter to like put up with what this guy is doing? Or would I allow my daughter to be abused in some way? And the answer is always, of course not. And yet you allow yourselves to do this and you get yourselves stuck. Take time. You don't know, you know, my oldest read one day, and you know, I don't want to give anything away, but he read once, or somebody told him that you're not supposed to get engaged for 3 years, and he's following that, you know, because that's when you know someone. That's when you really know you've now been in enough negative situations to see how they act, to see what their true selves are. And if you still love them, because you don't want to love somebody in spite of their negative attributes. You want to love them because of all the things that they are, even the negative things. So, and you want the same thing. You want them to love you because of all the things that you are. Because you're all beautiful ladies. You all deserve a wonderful man. You all deserve to be happy. And it starts with you loving you. You valuing you. So think before you do things. Look at your own value systems. Draw a line in the sand. This is as far as I go. I will accept nothing else than this. This is my line. I'm not going to accept this. And even if it means a hard decision, that you walk away from a guy that turns you on, that his very touch just makes you melt, even if it means that, walk away. There's so many fish in the sea, light bulbs on Broadway, the whole nine. You don't need that. You need to have standards, and you need to accept who you are and love who you are, good and bad. Stop being guilty. You don't need to be guilty about anything. Forgive yourself any transgression you had in your life, and accept your values and create good values. Even if you weren't given them growing up. Create your own. Everybody knows the difference between right and wrong. You can feel it in your soul. I don't believe people don't know what was wrong. Make decisions. Don't just go with it. Make decisions. Take your time. Life doesn't have to change like this. And don't think because you're one and it's a struggle and it's hard that creating yourself to be two would be any easier. That never, ever, ever works out. I hope you listen. I've listened to so many of you over the years tell me these stories of heartbreak. And if one person out of this whole group that I'm talking to gets this message, I'll be happy, because it's a great message. You are so valuable. There is no value I could put on your life. You're so valuable. And each one of you carries a beautiful vibration. Let it sing, you know. Be yourself. Give it some time. If he's the one, he'll be there. And you won't have to stress it. You don't have to pin it down on the first 3 months. Give yourself time enough to know who you're with and whether or not, like, you can establish an equal ground with your value systems and his value systems. And it's that simple. I know that sounds really complicated, but once you make that, you know what's crazy is that once you make that decision, because I did that, I made that decision, so empowering. Like, I felt like this powerful person. I knew what I was going to accept. I had a list. And within weeks, I found it in Jeff. And he fit all my criteria, like a job interview. But it worked. So, guys, anyway, I hope you value yourself. I love you guys. I'm going to go in here and pay my taxes. Manifest something lovely in your life. If you'd like to follow me down the rabbit hole that is my life, hit the button down below and subscribe. Show this to your daughters, teenage daughters. And remember, anything you do, your daughters are going to emulate it, you know? So if you have daughters, even sons, your sons are going to emulate it. Your children will watch you as the example. That's a little cray-cray, you know? Not always the best. I wasn't always the best example, unfortunately. So, you live and learn. I'm trying to give you a little of my sage advice. I love you guys. If I was too preachy, shut it off. Turn it off. Who the fuck cares? I'm just some old lady, right? Right. But I hope you listen to me. Bye.